Hello everyone, and welcome to the Got It Unlocked podcast episode 4. And today I'm joined by Alysa Miller, founder of Wolfe and Studio. So welcome Alysa.
Thank you.
So the first thing I want to talk to you about today is, could you tell me a bit about yourself and what you are about?
Okay. So my name is Alysa, and my last name is actually Wolfe. I am a writer and designer, and currently I'm living in New York. Mental health is something that I am very passionate about, since it's something I've dealt with since I was a kid, and I just always didn't really quite understand why I felt things the way I did, and it slowly became clearer as I got older that I definitely had anxiety and OCD.
And what sort of anxiety did you have growing up? Was it around schooling, friendships, or other things?
So a lot of it was definitely social anxiety. I would get very overwhelmed in crowds, interacting with other people. One theory I've been told is possibly it's since I didn't always hear things as well, being half deaf. But other times I just remember when I could hear, I would, if I had too much attention on me, I would just burst into tears, or if I was in a crowded room, I would get very overwhelmed.
Would you get panicky? Would you panic? Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes it was more of a shutdown where I would just start feeling overwhelmed, definitely very upset, scared, confused. Um, Definitely there are times where even as an adult now, if I'm on the subway and it's very crowded, I can just feel my body getting tight, and I can't breathe because there's just too many people around me.
Yeah, that's very like me. I find if there's spaces, but if there's not much space, I'm concerned that I'm gonna run a person's toes over.
Mm-hmm.
Or anything else like that. So what I want to move on to is, in depth, we spoke about what nicknames we have. Now
Mm-hmm.
you call yourself Cyborg.
Yes.
Why is that?
It kind of became a coping mechanism with being half deaf. A few years ago, I did get a cochlear implant surgery. So that is literally, can sort of see my processor if I turn my head.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know what that surgery is, it's when the cells that could do hearing in your ear are dead, and so they need to be electrically stimulated to mimic sound. And so they literally knock you out, they drill a hole in your head and insert the electrode in your ear, and then there's a magnet inserted here, which is what helps turn the device on and off. So the round bit here is what is connected by the magnet, and then the rest sits behind my ear.
So basically, your brain is electric,
Yep, I had
whereas my
batteries charging.
whereas my wheels are electric. Now you also mentioned your fiance. So I'm gonna ask you something. If your fiance goes on and on about the subject, do you just turn the cornelia implant off and pretend to listen to him?
I do that more jokingly, if we're teasing each other, and I like don't have a good comeback, I'll just like pop off and be like, "What? Did you say something?" And
Yeah,
that's really like a good way to win, like a teasing thing. If I don't know like what to say next, I can just be like, "What? What?"
that is so me. Yeah, wait, obviously. Now let's move on to something that we also spoke about. You also spoke about your mother
Yes.
to me. So could you just describe the situation on that side?
So we're not very close. It's something where being half deaf was something that she very much didn't like and very much tried to teach me to be ashamed of it. And like even with getting the cochlear implant, she really wanted my processor to blend in with my hair or skin tone. She really did not want the white one because she was afraid, she was like, it'll stand out too much. She really wanted a golden one or a skin tone one.
Oh
And just
my,
it hides.
that's so, that's really like for your own mother not to even champion your disability is shocking. She should have told you to make the most of it, not hide it.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
my first hearing aid I got when I was 6 or 7. And I remember being horrified when I saw it because I thought it was like this most disgusting thing. It was like this weird, like translucent, like the ear mold, the part that goes in your ear was like a translucent, like beigey tan color, and it had all these little red lines in it, which I thought as a 7-year-old looked like blood, and I was horrified. And she said, "Oh no, that's so it blends in with your skin and no one can see it." So,
That is like the coolest thing because obviously things are different here in the UK
mhm,
to you guys in the States.
yeah.
And the fact is, over here, hearing aids are still bulky,
Mhm,
some of them, whereas over in the States, you can't see them,
mhm, yeah.
which is great, I think. So, we're gonna talk about your fashion label,
Mhm.
which you've got, which is called Wolf and Studio. Am I
Yeah.
correct?
Wolf and Rose's studio.
Yes, Wolf and Rose's Studio. Can I first of all say I love your stuff?
Thank you.
I have been on there going, I want that, I want that, I want that. I literally love everything,
Thank you
especially
so much.
especially the beanie,
Mhm.
the reality check one. So why did you come about creating a fashion label? It mustn't have been easy in the
Yeah, it was
States.
definitely a process. I think what inspired me is, I don't know if you've witnessed it, but here there's very much this like new age, like spirituality thing where people wear shirts that say good vibes only. And there's very much like that kind of mindset where people really do believe that they only want to have like good vibes and everything should be really positive. And like I just know even people who don't struggle with their mental health, that's just not possible. You can't say to yourself, I'm only going to have good days.
I mean, in America, I've noticed there are some states that are, how do I word this, more progressive than others
Yeah.
in certain states. So what do you say to that? So it would be interesting for people not to hide
Mhm.
their temperament. So is that why you created the sayings that you do? Like my reality check bounced. That's a good
Yeah,
one.
that was definitely the inspiration behind all the clothing, to kind of have that humor with like kind of accepting who you are, but kind of accepting that dark side of like things aren't always like you can't, like everything doesn't have to be positive. Like I remember one time in Union Square, there were some people with like the free hug signs, and my friend
Yeah.
wanted to do it, and then the guy looked at me and I was like, no. And he was like, you
I,
don't want to hug? I was like, no, I don't let strangers hug me. And he was like, well, what does it mean to be a stranger? And we went back and forth, and I was like, I don't do hugs. And like he couldn't fathom that like this positive movement was being turned down, and that inspired my shirt that says hug me not. Because it was like, yeah, it's like I can be positive. I don't like people who like, if you I don't know someone well, they're not touching me, they're not getting a hug, they're not coming near me.
see, the thing is with me, I was in London once, and there was this bike ride for global warming, like cyclists. Well, this guy wanted a hug, and I looked down, he was naked, completely starkers. And I'm like, you do you.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm more cautious when I see the free huggers because I've got a bag on my back, and I don't want anyone to pickpocket anything. I am very positive, you're also very positive. What's it like in the States at the moment, given everything that's going on? From a from a New Yorker, what's it like being in the States in the middle of a pandemic and the election and stuff? How's that mental health wise?
It's definitely hard. There are times when I can say I have my good days and times when I have my bad days. There are times where I've had to block myself out of social media because reading the news was too much, and other times where I try and stay informed and I just have to like sit down and put my phone down and mourn for what's going on. At the height of the pandemic last spring, like New York City had mobile morgues brought in because the funeral homes couldn't handle all the deaths. And it was really hard to be in the city and just see that devastation hitting.
So there was mobile homes
Yeah.
in New York City.
Yeah, we got hit really hard at the pandemic. There was a really high death rate. It was very scary and overwhelming.
What did that do to your mental health? You as a person?
Um, it was a mix. There were times where I would be very angry because there would still be people not wearing masks and not quite understanding it, or kind of having the situation of like, well, like I don't have symptoms, I can go out, and still wanting to like meet in groups outside and just refusing to do the social distancing. So there was very much that anger, and then just a lot of sadness and feeling that loss of what people were going through, and knowing people who were going through that or just seeing it around. It was a really hard time.
I mean, over here, mental health wise, for me, we have what's called shielding over here. So we had to shield for 12 weeks inside the house.
Mhm.
So that was very draining, good days and bad days there.
Mhm.
But on an opposite note, let's get rid of all the pandemic stuff. So I noticed on your Wolf and Rose's studio account that you're gonna donate 10 or 15% to a organization called Trevor's. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yes, the Trevor Project is a nonprofit organization, and they provide crisis intervention and suicide prevention for LGBT youth, which is something I think is amazing, and especially that awareness is needed now as many kids are stuck in quarantine and not safe situations or supportive situations, so they need that extra help.
I think everyone needs a bit of extra help
Yeah.
in when it comes to mental health. I mean, to be honest, in today's current situation, mental health has a big effect on today's global society.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if all the world can do something, come together, it'd be a great thing. So, what plans have you got for Wolf and Studio coming up?
I'm hoping to just keep illustrating, doing t-shirts, and trying to raise awareness. I had a bit of a wrist injury, so I had to take a break from drawing, but it's getting better, so I'm planning to get back at it. And it is just that hope that with those shirts that they do kind of break that stigma and normalize talking about all things mental health. Like I had designed a post that hasn't been made into a shirt yet called Trick Happens. And that was very much since I had Trick when I was younger and I just was ripping all my hair out.
So what is Trick, if you don't mind me asking?
It's a compulsion to rip your own hair out. And it's something that many psychiatrists are like focused on that field, trying to figure out what it is, how to like research it more and like understand it. It's still something where they don't really have an outright cure or cause. It is very thought to be linked to things like OCD, since it is that compulsive disorder thing. And I was told several times that when I was like really little, like probably 4 or 5-ish, I had ripped out like half the hair on like one side of my head.
One side. So
Yeah.
you were complete bullshit. Well, I
Yeah.
had a similar thing, but I didn't pull all of it out. I don't know if you can see, but this side
Mm-hmm.
is thinner than that side. No, it's this side that's thinner than that side. Because this is my hand that works. And when I was little, I used to grab it
Mm-hmm.
and pull it out. So I'm not saying I fully know where you're coming from, but I sort of know
Yeah.
where you're coming from on that. So when it comes to your mental health, what do you hope for the future regarding your mental health?
Um, I'm hoping just to keep growing and learning more coping strategies. So when the bad days come, I don't get lost and feel like I'm drowning in them. I'm still looking into new things, new strategies. Like I know burning sage and incense is very soothing to me. I know sometimes meditations work, sometimes they don't. So I started looking into tapping recently. And so it's just
Tapping. You don't mean tapping on a keyboard, do you?
no, there's this other theory that I haven't researched a lot, but it's kind of similar to the idea of pressure points where you'll like tap a certain part of like your body and like do like a repetition of like phrase. And so there are specific points like on your face here or like on your eye, like right, yeah, like right at the corner of like where
Like
your nose.
that.
Yeah.
I have to be careful not to poke myself in the eye.
Yeah. I definitely, when my nails are longer, I'll need to watch because I'm very clumsy, but like just tapping certain parts, like this part of your hand, and you just kind of like repeat a phrase over and over again to like calm yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you for talking to me today, Alysa. I've really been opened up to what your story's like. And you're the first guest on here that I don't actually know. Well, sort of know you now. I've spoken to you. So thank you for coming on here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So I will see everyone in the next episode. And